class, we talked about parallel systems, parallel architectures. We talked about serial and parallel. We talked about Flynn's taxonomy, SISD, SIMD, MISD, and MIMD. Also, if you can remember, yesterday we talked about shared memory, shared disk, shared nothing, and hierarchical parallel architecture. Today, guys, let us talk about distributed systems. So, guys, can you tell me what do you mean by a distributed system? Distributed systems. Please come up with your answers. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just asked a question. What do you mean by distributed system? And I asked you to come up with some answers. May I know why there is no response?
Sir,
Yeah. Please tell me what do you mean by a distributed system?
system is having distributing multiple connections.
Multiple systems that are distributed.
Yes.
Okay, so Aishwarya, what is your suggestion or what is your answer for this?
With distributed memories, yes.
Distributed memory space. See, distributed systems are nothing new. It's not a new term at all. The distributed systems are there from 30, 40 years back. So when you say like systems are distributed, memory is distributed, right? What exactly is the idea behind a distributed system? See, we talked about client server system. Is a client server system, can you say a client server system also a kind of distributed system? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a client and a server, so those are two systems. Both the systems are distributed. So you do not know where the client is, you do not know where the server is. So you can even say a client server system is a distributed system, right? So whether a system is within a part of a LAN or a WAN, right? And the systems are interconnected through your network connections, right? You mean that such systems are called as distributed systems. Now, apart from typically traditional client server system perspective, distributed systems have evolved so that it can also do much more than just doing the traditional request response kind of thing, right, from a traditional client server perspective. So let us understand in this particular session something more about distributed systems in general. So as I have said, in a distributed system, guys, systems are connected through interconnection network, right? Either through LAN or WAN or your open internet. All right, so they are called as distributed systems. In the previous class, remember we talked about parallel systems, we talked about client server systems, etc. Right? Can you probably say that a distributed system, right, which is essentially a client server system, whether those particular systems can also have parallel computing capabilities? Yes, right. So even you can have distributed systems that have parallel computing capabilities. So essentially, you can have a parallel distributed systems. So that is also possible. Depending upon the server or the client or the machine that you are having and the configuration or the capability of the machine, if it can do concurrent processing, you can say the system is a parallel distributed system. All right, so essentially, at a very high level, when you say a distributed system, the purpose of a distributed system is for sharing resources, right? When you say share resources, right, you typically share your processor, right, your storage devices, right, and these resources might be shared among all the different systems to do some kind of execution or a task in a very distributed manner. Now, guys, can you tell me why at all this particular idea of a distributed system is advantageous in nature when you share resources, right, including your particular file system and the tasks? When you share this, right, what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage? Can you guys make a guess? Now, this is apart from your typical or normal client server perspective. So, in an ordinary client server perspective, so if you have a particular laptop and then you make a request to yahoo.com, you just talk to Yahoo server, make a request for the Yahoo page, and you get back the Yahoo home page, right? So that is the typical interaction scenario in your internet. All right. Now let me give you an example wherein you do some kind of large processing using a Hadoop file system or some kind of big data analytics, etc. Right? Wherein you use multiple systems to process different tasks in parallel. All right. Say for example you are using a HDFS or a Hadoop file system, right? So if I give you this particular example, this particular second example, wherein you do big data processing in parallel, right? Now this is also a big data. Sorry, this is also a distributed system, wherein all the systems execute tasks in parallel and give back the results back to the master or the controller, right? So the client essentially views this entire thing as a single task, but behind the scene, this particular single task is broken into multiple tasks, each task being executed by a separate slave or a separate machine. All right. So this is another very useful example of a distributed system wherein you do batch processing or a bulk processing, right? Heavily used in data science and machine learning applications. All right. So if I give you this particular example with respect to a distributed system, right? Now, what do you think is the main advantage, number one? And what do you think is the main disadvantage? Make a guess.
No, sir.
Hmm? What do you think is the advantage, guys? See, when I ask a particular question, I expect an answer from you. Any response, right? So this is not
Sir.
fair. Yeah. So I have asked you a particular question with a particular example, saying that you have a big distributed system, wherein you have the particular system able to solve a particular task, a big data task in parallel, right? By splitting up the task into subtasks, and all the subtasks are executed in parallel by separate individual machines, right? So if you have this particular scenario, what is the advantage?
Speed.
Speed. Exactly, it is speed. And what is the disadvantage, say for example? What might be the disadvantage, guys? See, in fact, how do you say speed is an advantage? Can you justify that point? How do you say speed is
Because
an...
multiple tasks are running parallelly.
Okay. Now, if I say that I have a high-end machine with all the processes available in my particular machine, and if my single machine can do this particular task without actually distributing it, right? And if I have a high-end machine, right, I can be much more faster than distributing it, right? Am I right? Because I am adding to the latency. I am communicating via the network, right? So, if this is the kind of argument, what do you say?
the workload for each processor will get reduced.
The workload for each processor in a distributed system, yes, in fact, it may get reduced, but the idea here is, say, for example, there is definitely a communication overhead. All right, but what you are doing is you are sacrificing speed with the advantage that you get with respect to executing a very huge big data set or a very large data set, right? Say, for example, if you have a particular decently configured machine with multiple processor, and if you have got a very huge data set, and if your single system can actually process the entire data set, say, for example, within 4 hours or 5 hours of time, right? And if you're going to distribute it to multiple processors, right? And if you get, say, for example, if you get the job done within 2 or 3 hours at least, right? You say that, okay, fine, rather than waiting for 5 or 6 hours, right? If I take this particular approach, at least I'm able to get it done in 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours is not too short, not too long, right? So you sacrifice, or it's a kind of trade-off between your speed, right, and your processing. Am I clear?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so that is the main disadvantage of a distributed system. You have a communication overhead, right? And the next point is, see, in a distributed system, the main memory is not shared, right? So all are independent systems with its own memory, right? And communication happens through your network. So please remember that. So main memory is not shared and communication is through the network connections. So because of this, as I've already stated, there is communication overhead, right? So the message exchange time between the systems are more, right? So it will take longer time, right? When you do a message exchange, right? Depending upon the network connection, message exchange times may be more. All right, so distributed systems, guys, they are an infrastructure for distributed processing. As I have given an example earlier, the second scenario, right, wherein you deal with big data, right? And you guys probably know, like, big data deals with your 3 V's factor, right? So what are the 3 V's you would have studied in big data? V.
Volume, velocity,
Volume, velocity, and
viscosity.
viscosity. What do you mean by viscosity? I'm not sure. Is it viscosity or variety? I guess it is variety. So the 3 V's in big data, right? Volume, velocity, and variety, right? So when you take huge data and try to process the particular data, you typically go for distributed systems, right? And one of the most widely used distributed system, or the file system, right, is, what is your answer? Can you give an example of a distributed system which is widely used with respect to these aspects, handling big data, with respect to volume, velocity, and variety? Any example there? Yeah.
For each one, sir, volume, velocity, variety.
Illa, not for each one. Any one particular example software that you can think of that handles big data in a distributed manner. The immediate thing that comes into your mind when you say big data is what? Any guesswork? Do you have big data, guys, or did you study big data?
Sir,
Hello?
No, sir.
No. Okay. See, Hadoop is one thing. Have you heard of Hadoop?
sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, you say yes, and then when I say asked, you did not have big data so far in your curriculum, in your previous UG and all.
I heard about that word, but don't know how.
Okay, so big data is nothing but handling large volumes of data. How do you handle large volumes of data? And if you have heard of Hadoop, right? Hadoop is tightly related with big data. Hadoop is one particular solution for handling big data. All right. So distributed systems are an infrastructure for distributed processing, and an example is processing a very large data set, right? And processing a very large data set. One example is your Hadoop. Hadoop is an open source file system. Typically, it is called as HDFS or Hadoop file system or Hadoop distributed file system. All right, so Hadoop is one typical example which is open source that does this particular job. See, when Hadoop was actually invented or when Hadoop was initially available, it was kind of designed for big data but not distributed. Right, the concept of distribution actually came in later, but initially when Hadoop was there, right, it was used on a single machine, right, and processing was done on a single machine, right. So Hadoop makes use of this concept of master-slave relationship, right. We have talked about MIMD, right. What is MIMD? Multiple instruction set and multiple data streams, right? So in this particular example here, Hadoop distributed file system, you make use of MapReduce, right? So MapReduce is essentially way of actually, what do you say, dividing your particular task into multiple tasks, right? And your data streams, right? They are divided appropriately and given it to different machines, right? By this particular Hadoop file system. All right. So alternative to MapReduce, there is also something called a Spark, which can also be used, right? So these are some examples with respect to processing big data set, having huge volume, velocity, and variety. Other example, one more example that I would like to say is SETI, right? So SETI is nothing but search for extraterrestrial intelligence, right? So it is another example. Another example is BIONC, right? Or Boeing rather, right? So Boeing is nothing but Berkeley Open Infrastructure for Network Computing. So these are some examples, right? So here in this particular, if you do a Google search and go into this particular site for Boeing, you can find so many research scientific projects, right, with respect to different domains, including physical, astronomy, medical sciences, etc. Right? You can see so many open research scientific projects, right, that actually makes use of large data sets, right? But of these three, HDFS is the most popular one. Clear, guys? So far, so good.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Another example I would like to say here is, apart from HDFS, right, there is another file system that is available, which is called as OpenAFS or Open Andrew file system, right, which is also related to your distributed systems, right? And there is GlutterFS, right? GlutterFS is another file system which is used in the Linux world, right? Which is also a file system which is a distributed file system. So essentially, like the file system examples with respect to distributed systems are HDFS, OpenAFS, and GlutterAFS. These two are projects, right? Any doubts, guys? So far, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. All right. So as I've said, distributed systems are very, very ideal or suited for handling big data. And another very important advantage is, depending upon the file system that you use for distributed computing or distributed processing, right? You can make use of really low-cost computers or commodity hardware, right, to create clusters, right? So the idea here is, like, if you are, say, for example, if you are using HDFS and Hadoop supports you guys to make use of low-cost commodity computers, right, to create clusters. When you say clusters are nothing but a particular group of machines that does a particular task, right? And all the machines in that particular group could be low cost machines or machines with a low configuration, right? And depending upon the configuration on the machine, it can do its job, right? And Hadoop supports that, right? and one terminology that is available and that can be used to create clusters with respect to the Hadoop world, right, is Hive. Okay, so what is the advantage of distributed system, right? So the advantage of distributed system is, as you are distributing or giving your workloads to multiple different systems, right? The most important advantage is fault tolerant, right? So you have multiple copies of the same workload available. So even in case of if a particular node or a system fails, right, the entire system is still up and running. Okay, so that is the main advantage. It is fault tolerant, right? And the second advantage is it is also scalable. Say probably depending upon your particular task, right? You divide your particular task into a small cluster with 2 or 3 nodes, and depending upon your workload, right? Depending upon your workload, sorry, depending upon your workload, right? As it increases, right? You can add up more clusters, right? And then and thus it is called as scalable. Right? Maybe you can start small and grow big, right? That is the idea of scalability. Fault tolerance, right? You can have replicas available so that even if a particular node fails, right, the entire system does not fail. So that is the idea behind fault tolerant and scalability. Clear, guys, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, students. So continuing with the distributed systems, we have got a couple of things to understand, right? Now, distributed systems, client server systems are distributed systems, right? Your parallel data systems that are distributed are also distributed systems, right? And distributed systems can also make use of cloud computing, right? You can use either a single cloud or you can make use of multi-cloud, right? You can make use of a mix and match of different kinds of clouds. Say, for example, you may have a single public cloud or you may have a private cloud. You may mix and match both public and private clouds to set up a particular cluster, right? So all those things can be possible, right? And again, when you use cloud computing, you may move from your traditional cloud computing aspects, right, to making use of containers also, right? Now, see, the idea of distributed computing is not generally making use of a physical hardware. Rather, the trend has moved from making use of physical machines or physical hardware within a particular system or an organization to using cloud services, right, for distributed processing or distributed computing in containers. So that is another point I would like to mention, right? Now this, whenever you make use of cloud computing, right, virtual machines and containers, right, your distributed systems may also make use of a mix of different kinds of databases for storage, right, including your traditional relational databases. You may have in-memory databases, time series databases, etc. All right. So we'll talk something more about in-memory, time series, etc. in one of our future units, right? But for now, please just remember that different kinds of databases might be used by different containers, right? And all these systems making use of different database may work for a particular task, a single task. We talked about client server computing, right? So client server computing is also a form or a flavor of distributed system, right? Wherein you have a client and you have a server. The client makes a request to the server and the server gives you a response, right? So that is the traditional terminology or idea behind client server computing. Can you give an example for a client server computing model? Can you give an example for a client server computing model?
Email, sir.
Pardon?
Email.
Email, yeah. Email is also a client server computing model. So generally, can I say like the web is an example for client server computing model. So the web itself is a perfect example for client server computing model. All right, grid computing. Grid computing is also a flavor for distributed systems or distributed computing. Right now, what do you mean by grid computing, guys? Any idea? See, guys, in grid computing,
No,
essentially,
sir.
yeah, in grid computing, essentially, you make use of a something like a virtual machine or a virtual server that is a supercomputer, right? So just like your Hadoop system, you have a super master controller, right, or a supercomputer, and you have got multiple separate machines available, right, arranged in the form of a grid, right? Hence the name grid computer, grid computing. And as we have seen in the previous slide, right, BOINC is another example wherein you may find, or you will find many projects that use grid computing. And for client server computing, I gave an example. The example is the web. The web itself is an example for client server computing. And we talked about large scale parallel data processing already in the previous slide, right? So what is an example for large scale parallel data processing? We have already talked in the previous slide. Example for large scale parallel data processing.
Data, sir.
Pardon?
Big data.
Big data, right? And big data, how do you process big data? One example that we have seen in the previous slide. How do we process or how do we deal with big data?
Hadoop, sir.
Pardon?
Hadoop, sir.
It is Hadoop. You said Hadoop. Did you say Hadoop?
No, sir. I'm asking.
The previous slide we talked about handling big data and large data sets, and we saw an example. I said HDFS or Hadoop data or Hadoop distributed file system. So that is one example for large scale parallel data processing. Another example is SETI. Can you guys guess what is the expansion for SETI? I have said earlier in the previous slide, what is the expansion for SETI? It has to deal with life beyond your solar system. So that is a kind of clue to the expansion for SETI. I gave the expansion just now in the previous slide when I said SETI. I'm just asking that question again. What is the expansion for SETI? SETI stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. The next system is the next kind of flavor for distributed system is P2P computing. P2P computing stands for peer-to-peer computing, right? So in a peer-to-peer computing system, right? See, all the machines are important, right? Any machine can either can be used either as a client or a server or as both, right? And an example for peer-to-peer computing is you make use of BitTorrent, right? Bitcoin is an example for peer-to-peer computing. So this is also a kind of distributed flavor doing distributed processing. So it comes under the umbrella of distributed systems. Security concerns, right? So whenever you make use of a distributed system, please, you need to keep into mind, right? Or you need to keep in mind that security is a very, very important factor, especially with respect to authentication and authorization, right? Now, this may not be a very big deal if your particular distributed system deals with your research data or scientific data, right? All those things may be open, right? So security, authentication, authorization may not be a big deal. But if you have a distributed system which is commercial, right, authentication and authorization is very, very important, right? So that point also you need to keep into mind, or you need to keep in mind whenever you design and implement a distributed system. All right, guys?
Sure.
All right. So that is all for today's session. So let us stop here and continue in the next class. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So if